momentarily. But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans, but the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this: when the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings, it doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first.
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Well, it's election day, and there may be a little bit on the ballot here and there in our listening area, but big things on the ballot throughout the country. And as some may even point out, we've heard this morning too, those little things that you may not even be aware of, boy, they can really add up. They can hit you even harder than some of these other things. I mean, they really are. It's property taxes and things like that. So we'll get into all of it, plus the latest. We got breaking news, the latest update on that major Halloween terror plot here in Michigan.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. You'll talk about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. These powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage, Dave Galloway and the team. You heard him yesterday talk about interest rates and that special deal they've got going on for the next 24 hours right now, helping you. It's worth taking a look at. In fact, being able to get you, I think he said the appraisal. Well, give them a call. Reach out, hhmlending.com. It's a decent, I think it's say $500 or more. Lots of people reaching out right now, especially folks that got the interest rates up high as they've come down now. You could save, he said, like a car payment a month. You don't want to run out and, throw much money down on something else. But, at the end of the day, think about how much help that may do for you if you got a little extra cushion in your wallet.
Number one.
Well, we have new breaking news on that major Halloween terror plot that's been thwarted, according to the FBI on Friday. They told us about this story. Listen to these details. They've arrested, obviously, those folks planning on an attack in Ferndale. They've since been charged, I believe. They were targeting areas popular with the LGBTQ plus community, according to the report. Federal agents found AR-15s, tactical gear, thousands of rounds of ammo, which is interesting. And only one suspect had even traveled abroad. But can you believe this? He returned with disturbing content on his phone, according to the DOJ. Says this was a serious threat, not just a group of gamers, as one defense attorney claimed. The kicker? Do you know who helped them figure all this out? ICE. ICE found this content back and forth conversation, apparently, on the phone of one of these individuals, and that's why we know about it today.
Number 2.
May have saved some lives. Well, like I said, it is election day. Candidates making their final push. Trump endorsing Cuomo. Even California voters voting on redistricting. A couple of mayoral races, including at one here in Detroit, which is a big one. Kentwood as well. Continue to keep you updated with those and talk a little bit about what some of the folks are saying. Governor, we got some races for governor. Yeah, that's right. New Jersey and Virginia on the line, too.
Number 3.
The hardest news of all, former Vice President Dick Cheney, key architect of the war on terror, they say dies at 84, serving under President George W. Bush. You may remember 2001 to 2009, but also the chief of staff for Gerald Ford. Interesting backstory there, and of course, I'm sure you'll be hearing more and more as the time goes on the contributions. Yeah, we'll keep you up to date with the latest. I've got some breaking news. Fox News alert says bomb threats in New Jersey forcing polling places to close. See if we can get updates on that real quick. Let's take a listen. Hang on. Let's listen.
And crossed from the Democratic Party to Donald Trump, and Trump actually won the county. Okay, so Mamdani has been out this morning already. The sound just into us. He was asked about the threats. And if you listen carefully, by all accounts, it seems like he is putting the onus for these bomb threats on the Trump administration.
Oh,
Go ahead and roll it aside after this.
What a moron.
It's incredibly concerning. And I think that it is an illustration of the attacks we're seeing on our democracy. Sometimes they're blatant and explicit in the manner of these bomb threats. And we have to understand this as part of the general approach the Trump administration has taken to trying to intimidate voters with baseless allegations of voter fraud as a means of trying to repress the voice of Americans across this country.
You got to be kidding me.
I don't know if he's going to get that question again today, but
Wow.
the general approach the Trump administration has taken to try and intimidate voters.
You've got to be kidding me. What?
And unless we heard him incorrectly, what in the world is he talking about?
He is serving up a Kamala-sized word salad.
Sauron the moron.
Using kale instead of romaine. It's just a slightly better finessed verbiage than we were given with her. This is emptiness. It means nothing. What he's doing is deflecting because he doesn't have an answer for this because he is not prepared if, God forbid, something like 9/11 happens again. Just think about that. Were you in
Oh, he's prepared, all right. You're not going to like what he's preparing, but he is prepared, all right. These folks have to be taken very seriously. Again, bomb threats received at 7 counties across New Jersey. And again, Zoran trying to blame the Trump administration on it when we've seen the most. I just told you who was responsible for that threat here in the Detroit area in Ferndale. Who are the people that come out on day of? Who are they trying to suppress? It's not Democrats.
Governor Mark Meredith is live in Montclair with the latest for us. Mark.
Ainsley, Brian, and Lawrence, good morning once again, friends. Some brand new information coming into our newsroom that we've learned that these threats were communicated electronically via email to at least 7 different counties across the Garden State. These threats certainly being taken seriously, and out of abundance of caution, some of the polling places were temporarily either closed or suspended as they moved voters to different locations. And then as they were doing those searches, then either able to reopen some of the facilities. We got a statement from the Attorney General of New Jersey. I want to put it up on the screen for you. It says law enforcement officers have responded at each affected polling place. Some of these polling locations have already reopened to the public. The polls in New Jersey opened at 6 a.m. sharp. We have not seen any added security in the last hour or so, but it is certainly possible that we could see more because at this polling facility right here behind me, we are going to be seeing the Democratic nominee for governor, Mikey Sherrill. She'll be out here with her family to cast her.
Yeah, I just, again, nothing surprises me, and I don't think, anything should anymore surprise any of us. Some of these stories that continue to come out. Again, bomb threats out of New Jersey at polling places, handful of different polling places, election day. By the way, redder than all other forms of voting, Election Day. Just so you know, Democrats and largely they say we'll vote, early voting, absentee, all this stuff, mail in from beyond the grave. I'm sorry. I'm chuckling because this is how they do it. In fact, this weekend we had a fantastic Lincoln Day dinner with the folks in Barry, Allegan, and Ionia counties, a trifecta. The three came together for a fantastic dinner. Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, who is the Millimeter Miracle Pastor. You've seen him. I'm sure he did the benediction at the inauguration for President Trump. Fantastic. But he's also on the front lines of election integrity, hearing from voters there in Detroit in his church, in fact. They're ground zero for this. He explained with great detail how their votes are being stolen. In fact, black people in Detroit. This is one of the ways they did it. He describes this in detail. I'll have to have him back on to give the full, the full kind of breakdown of this. But essentially, they look at people who don't normally vote, and they will take those individuals and they will vote for them. This is how he describes the scam. And that's usually absentee, et cetera. One of the women that they've given affidavits on this. In fact, he's got a couple of court cases that he mentioned that these citizens have filed. Now, I don't know where they go, but these are people who went in. One black woman went in Detroit only to be told that she already voted. And she said, no, the heck I have. She said, I have not voted. But that's how these people do it. So they'll use people. That's why they want the Jocelyn Benson, et cetera, wants the qualified voter rolls stuff. They don't want you to be able to see who's on them. And, of course, they definitely don't want to give that information up to the federal government, which is the heart of that lawsuit that she's engaged in right now with Trump administration. All right, back in just moments. Give you a chance to weigh in.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Again, following the latest handful of bomb threats there in New Jersey on Election Day, we've got Election Day updates coming to you throughout Michigan as well. And a Tech Tuesday. It centers around AI again today. There was a big, massive conversation between Joe Rogan and Elon Musk that's really talk about what the workplace is going to look like in the days ahead. You don't want to miss this. It's all coming up. All right, back with you. Oh, and by the way, there's an end of the shutdown possibly in sight. We'll tell you why, as predicted. And this whole SNAP benefit thing, by the way, I think it's backfiring in a big way. The latest on that and more after this. In the meantime, join us if you're able, and please stand for the national anthem.
story. Today is election day, and there are lots of local races here in Michigan. Residents in Detroit will be electing a new mayor, as Mike Duggan is opting to run for governor in 2026. In other news, Detroit is ranked the second worst city in the U.S. for military veterans. Detroit ranking 98th for both employment and quality of life, in 90th place for the economy, and 80th for health. Sky-high veteran unemployment and poverty are significant factors considered by the personal finance website Wallet Hub, which conducted the survey. It is day 35 of the government shutdown. House Speaker Mike Johnson renewing his call for Democrats to vote to reopen the government.
The Schumer shutdown was never about health care. That's a distraction. It's a red herring, as we used to say in Debate Club. Okay, this is about fear.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
When it comes to home improvements, don't fall for gimmicks. At Premier Roofing and Exteriors, they don't play games. Their state-licensed estimators work with you to find the best solution.
All right, welcome in, folks. We can say good morning to the folks on the VIP. Terry, good to see you. Mando, Mark. Carol, good to see you. Carol made it in. Oh, by the way, Carol is a new VIP. Thank you so much, Carol, for your support. God bless you. Panda, good to see you. Tim the Road King, did I say him yet? Well, I'll say it again. Andrew, good to see you too. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you so much. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you, Andrew Stuff. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Yes, vote no. That's the way I feel too. But it's no secret. That's no secret. All right, let's see. On Rumble this morning, Sneeboard, America First, Jen Lynn, SJ, Sheila, good to see you. Nancy, Tree Frogs in the house. Jeremiah, good to see you too. And the Bookers are here with us today. Thank you guys for sharing the broadcast. It helped us break the algorithm and get the word out. Being throttled and shadow banned right and left. Sean, good to see you, brother. How are you, man? Sherry is here. Kim is here. Good to see you, Bunny. Jason, appreciate you. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, back after it in just one moment. Here we go.
For this season and beyond. You'll find all the right layers to keep you warm and looking sharp, including cozy sweaters, sweatshirts, and more. But hurry, fall weather won't wait, and neither should you. So don't miss the outerwear shop, open now at untuckit.com and more than 80 stores worldwide. Untuck It, shirts designed to be worn, untucked.
I'm Cal Penn, and on my new podcast, Here We Go Again, we'll take today's trends and headlines and ask, why does history keep repeating itself? Each week, I'm calling up my friends like Bill Nye, Lily Singh, and Pete Buttigieg to talk about everything from the space race to psychedelics.
You're a citizen of Earth.
Pete Buttigieg. Ugh.
My goal here is for you to listen and feel a little better about the future. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Here We Go Again with Cal Penn, and listen now.
You're listening to News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet Store for powering the show today and every day at Good Feet Store. You're going to get, well, I think you're going to have the experience I did. I mean, the only way to know, though, for sure is to walk in and see for yourself. 28th Street, right there in front of Costco. Or in Portage on Westage in front of Kohl's. I got to tell you, foot pain, back pain, thing of the past for me. Ever since I stepped into the Good Feet Store. All those fun things that you get to do. And now I've seen, by the way, we got the Christmas lights up on our home. Unbelievable. They came out yesterday to put them up. And I think about that season. And I'm going to tell you all the things that you love to do during fall. But now I'm thinking, gosh, getting ready for the winter, right? Christmas shopping and everything else is ramped up. And our sister station, Star 105.7, have started broadcasting the carols over there. So what I'm saying, no matter what season it is, don't miss out. All those fun things that you get to do, make sure that you get to do them with your kids, your grandkids, and just enjoy life to the fullest at the Good Feet Store. That's a good feed store. Thanks to those folks again for powering the program. All right, let's grab a call quickly if I can. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Mike in Wyoming. How are you, Mike? Welcome in.
I'm good, Justin. How about you?
Fantastic.
Hey, Justin, I want to quick talk about SNAP. There's the reason why guys like Ma'am Dammy get boast is because people don't want to be responsible and do it right. How come we're not talking about the reason there's 43 million people on this stuff? I know guys that their buddies live with women that got a bunch of kids, and it's so much a kid. They're working the system. The system knows about it. You just don't get.
Hey, Mike, this is a big topic, and this is a big topic in the Detroit area. I've heard people talk about this in Dearborn, etc., about what's happening there and how many kids are getting caught. I gotta tell you, I just it's. In fact, Mike, thank you I got to play this because you said it kind of, maybe it's a little off topic, but it's not. It's actually not. It's something I want to cover today. I think this whole thing is backfiring. So here's the latest. Trump administration, the court says you got to fund. He said, well, we don't have the money. We'll partially fund it. They got $5 billion in contingency from the USDA. So, okay, here's the $5 billion. That's only going to give half a month. Well, it looks like the shutdown is wrapping up, and that is because, as we said the other day, predicted, they wanted to get past this election. They wanted the radicals to come out, Democrats did, in full form in order to get all the votes banked in as possible. So now the food stamps will start flowing again. But now that they brought this up, because you remember, this is only going to be a short CR. They got to do this again in a couple of weeks and then eventually get into the budget. And I just wonder how much of this is backfiring. Here's a woman online who made a video, and I'm just an average person. Listen to what she discovered.
I'm a teeny tiny tad bit confused. There was this mom who was showing us what she gets when she ain't got her food stamps because they didn't get them, and I was interested because I was like, oh, what can I do to make things cheaper? And when she went in, she was like, oh, look, there's dollar peanut butter, there's off-brand bread, there's rice, I already buy this stuff. I already buy the cheapest of the cheapest. Do they not have to do that while they're on food stamps to get the cheapest thing?
Yeah.
Because I already have to do that, and I ain't got food stamps, and I have to buy the off-brand great value stuff.
Uh-huh.
I mean, sometimes I go a little wild, and I get the oatmeal with a little Pioneer Man on it, but I mean, I was grateful because I did get some.
This is so interesting because she, again, is waking up. You're seeing it happen right in front of your very eyes. Because why? Because these people that are complaining about some of this stuff, they're posting it online so you can see it. So now real life people like her are seeing it going, wait a minute, I have to buy the cheapest of I can't afford the goods. These people are buying the good stuff.
I buy the cheap peanut butter. I buy the cheap jelly. I buy the cheap bread. They don't have to do that. I don't understand.
By the way, here's the other sneaky part of this. And you've got to understand. I laid this out on the after show the other day. This is the secret, sneaky part they don't want you to know about. But did you know that it actually dries up the cost of your food? Say what? How's that? It's simple economics. I mean, probably preaching to the choir, but maybe you didn't understand this. I laid it out yesterday. I'll give you a bit of a preview of that, but I think it's important because I want you to be able to talk about this when you go to Thanksgiving dinner and sit down with your relatives. We're saying, I can't believe that Trump. First of all, Trump didn't shut this whole thing down. The Democrats did, number one. And number two, isn't it interesting, the various facets of all. Now, I'm not saying people shouldn't. There are some, obviously, we got to feed these babies. We got to make sure the elderly have food. But again, how you do it and how it works, that's all up for debate. And now I think it's going to get a bigger spotlight than it ever had gotten before. I'm going to talk about that coming up. We'll give you the latest. Check our latest headlines. We got big breaking news in New Jersey, the latest and more coming up bottom of the hour right here. West Michigan Live on Wood Radio.
Changes in the air this fall, not just with the weather, but with the market.
All right. Yes, I'm this guy. I could not have put this any better than what this man did. He lays it out in a way, and I think it also helps that he is black, because then people can kind of get past that whole thing, which is silly and stupid anyway. But it's the name calling. It's a weird leftist thing that they do, but what I think is kind of interesting is he just lays this out in a very common sense way. In fact, you want to see these videos, you want to see the stories that we're sharing today, I'm going to make sure that they're up, in fact, on the stack today. On the stack at justinbarclay.com. We'll put those up in just a moment. Let me check in with Trent. Jennifer, I'm going to write your information down. I did get an email for you, but it was very lengthy. And, I'd be honest with you. We're going to have a phone call to hear the full story. You could try and call in today, but I can guarantee you there's not going to be enough time to cover it. I do want to follow up with you. So send me an email. Again, Justin at justinbarclay.com, and we'll schedule a time to get you on the air, or at least for me and you to talk, so I know exactly what. Guys, just so you know, somebody approached me the other day and they go, I have this huge, in the last 2 weeks, I have this huge whistleblower thing I got to let you know about. And I'm not an investigative reporter. If the story isn't already out there, I don't really break it. What I do is I share the stories that are already out there, and I talk about those, because I don't have the time, the resources, the ability to do the investigative stuff. But what I can do is I can pass this off to people that I know, and they can start shaking the bushes, shaking the trees, and try and get some answers so that we can get it out. It happened with Goshen. It's a very similar, the very reason President Trump came to Grand Rapids in West Michigan during the campaign to make that stop for Ruby Garcia. So I'm not telling you guys not to reach out to me. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is that when people reach out to me, be very short and concise, so I get exactly what you're talking about. Don't send me reams of files. I just can't process that. We're just dealing with lots of volume, and it's just me. Dave would be a good guy to reach out to. He's another one. I don't have a producer. I mean, I have one that's in the booth who'll take your phone call, put you on the air here, but there's not somebody that is sitting back. So I'm not picking on Jennifer either. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to let you know, because I've had several people in the last few weeks reach out with these big stories. And the best thing I can do, really, the only thing I could do is we get on the phone and I can kind of understand your story a little bit, and then I can help you. Either I can share part of your story. You can call in to tell some of your story, right? Or we can give it to somebody like a news organization that will deep dive with you and really get it out there. That's part of it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Because I think this stuff is important. I'm not telling you guys not to reach out to me. I just want to tell you that in order that we get everything, because we want to do it the justice it deserves. That's kind of the best way to do it. All right, so Jennifer, please email me again and give me your phone number. And then I will reach out, and maybe what we can do is have a brief conversation so I can really understand exactly what you're doing and what has happened. And I want to see if we can get it covered. Okay. What the heck was I going to do? Oh yeah. I was going to test with Trent. Sorry, Trent. I got sidetracked there. I got off topic. I apologize. Squirrel. You got me. Hey man, how are you?
Morning, Justin. Doing great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. You sound good. You look good. I want to get into our AI. This is probably going to be the biggest, is the AI, the desk jobs, that big clip, that first one, maybe a couple other things from Rogan and Musk. They had a really good conversation, a couple other things that we'll try and deal with as well. But I want to get people thinking about some of the things that they said, because some of it's really, it's kind of mind blowing. I mean, I think it affects people like me too, which is kind of interesting. And we'll get into it, folks, how your job could literally change and whether you even have one in the coming years is kind of front and center on this one today. So thank you very much, Trent, for being here. Affordable iStore, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale, as always. And Grand River Tech, our good friend, back in just moments. Thank you, brother. He'll be live and direct with us. First, I gotta get this guy who lays it out for you. Why food costs so much. Couldn't have said it better, in fact. This is an incredible. The guy is Basic Economics 101, and he lays it out in a way that I think it's easy for everyone to understand. Here we go.
And complimentary comprehensive financial plan. Check out our website too, guardingyournestegg.com, and Mike's YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button to be notified of each new episode.
Advisory services offered through Talent Private Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
All right, let's get into our good friend Trent Kennedy on the way with a fantastic conversation. One that has to have happened, but this happened on a podcast the other day. Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and they're discussing the future of AI and what I think might be one of the most important conversations you'll hear. Maybe not even just today, but throughout the entire span here. Why? Because it involves what the future looks like, your job, your work, and it'll give you a chance for you to get prepared in some ways. I think that's important for us. Okay, let's break this down if we can. Okay, this guy makes so much sense. I can't even explain to you how wild it is. Basic Economics 101. We've already talked about how the food stamps, the SNAP program, there's so much fraud and abuse. You know, there's taking care of people that need it, and how you do that and go about it is a whole nother conversation, which has to happen eventually. People are waking up to that right now. But the other piece, and I find this fascinating as well, is that, you know, this SNAP and this food stamp, you got 40 some odd million people on this program. It actually makes the cost of your food go up. This guy explains it perfectly better than I ever could.
For all the people that don't understand.
And I tried yesterday, by the way. I tried to explain
how EBT is tearing our country apart. Let me explain economics for you. This is not accounting. I'm an accountant, bachelor's degree, but this is economics. Supply and demand. When you have an oversupply of something, you have a surplus. When you have an undersupply, you have a shortage.
Yeah.
Now, everybody knows when you have a shortage and demand is high, you could charge a premium price because you don't have a lot. Let's say you have 100 people wanting an apple, high demand, but you only have 10 apples. Guess what? You can charge whatever you want to charge for those apples because you got 100 people wanting 10 apples. Reverse that, supply and demand. Let's say you have 10 people, but you have 100 apples. You got to drop your price now. So if you only got 10 people shopping, but you got 100 apples to sell, you've got to drop your price so people want to buy your apples and not the other 90. This is how supply and demand works.
By the way, this used to be common sense.
People don't understand the economics behind this. What EBT does is it oversaturates the market. Too many buyers. When you have too many buyers and you have a shortage of food, guess what? You can charge a high price because you have 100 people, all with EBT, and you only have 10 things to sell. Now, when you take EBT out of the system and you only have 10 buyers, the supply of food goes up. Guess what happens? You now have a surplus of food, a shortage of buyers. Therefore, the food price has to come down. If it doesn't come down, a lot of buyers won't be able to sell, or a lot of sellers won't be able to sell because buyers are going to go somewhere else to a better price.
Yeah.
Buyers will control the market when it's not a lot of buyers. When it's a whole lot of buyers and only a handful of sellers, the sellers control the market because they have all the power in the shortage of products they have. EBT is like putting way too much out there. You got too much money circulating, too many buyers, not enough sellers. Therefore, the prices of everything skyrockets when you put more EBT out there. This is why groceries go up. Inflation. The moment you take away the dollars, the EBT dollars, guess what happens? They have a surplus of all of this food out there. All of these people trying to sell food, but you only got people with actual cash willing to buy now. You don't have a lot of buyers. So you want to entice a buyer to come buy what you got by doing what? Lowering your price.
I thought this was so common sense, and I thought everybody understood this, but I had people arguing with me on social media about this the other day. I said, this is the only thing you need to know to understand. The government is subsidizing somebody here, right? First of all, when the government gets involved in anything, you know the price already just quadruples. Think about the $1,000 hammers and all these other things, the waste, fraud, and abuse that we've heard about through the years, right? Now, this is the single way to understand this whole thing. Please, don't get me, this is it. This is going to give you all you need to know. Who oversees these SNAP benefits? Remember, she came out the other day and said, we don't have enough money. There's not enough money. There's only a $5 billion contingency here. That won't last. We need $9 billion for the whole month. It was Secretary Brooke Rollins of the Department of Agriculture, the USDA. Well, why doesn't the food stamps program fall under the Health and Human Services if it's supposed to serve and help you or the health of humans? What most people are missing in this whole situation is that this program isn't set up to subsidize the individual. It's not set up really to help those in need. It's set up to help big food. It's set up to help the food companies. That's why Coca-Cola used to be Woca-Cola. Their prices of everything have gone through the roof. The chip companies and everybody else. Think about this. They're the ones who are being subsidized, and thus their prices. And prices on everything have gone up. It's total common sense, and most people don't take a second really to step back from the emotion of it all and think about it. But now I hope we've shined a little bit of light on it for you, and you can do just that. Hang on, let's take a step back and do AI now. How about that?
The latest in tech and how it affects you and your world. This is Tech Talk Tuesday on Wood Radio's West Michigan Live.
Our good friend Trent Kennedy, always helpful at making some of the most complex simplified when it comes to these conversations, and we'll do just that with tech today, AI. And this is maybe less of a tech, but it will be more about how that tech subject affects or impacts humans, which is where we kind of find our sweet spot a lot of times when we have these conversations. My good friend Trent, Affordable iStore, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale, and of course, the folks at Grand River Tech as well. Thank you for joining in. We appreciate you, brother.
Good morning, Justin.
So, AI. There was a massive interview just the other day. This is Elon Musk talking to his good friend Joe Rogan, and they are talking about AI. The quote from the interview that got me the most, and this is, I haven't watched the whole thing. It's probably like 3 hours, 4 hours or something like that. But the quote that got me the most in the AI conversation was, desk jobs vanish like lightning. Now, we've known that these are the kind of jobs that would go first. In other words, people that are working trades, people that work with their hands. You know, AI will replace a lot of jobs. We've already started seeing that here in Grand Rapids with Acrisure. We've heard about Amazon. The last few weeks, these have been major headlines. And here's Elon and Joe talking about this.
It's like, what other jobs will be available that aren't available now because of AI?
Well, AI is really still digital. Ultimately, AI can improve the productivity of humans who build things with their hands or do things with their hands, like literally welding, electrical work, plumbing, anything that's physically moving atoms, like cooking food or farming or like anything that's physical. Those jobs will exist for a much longer time. But anything that is digital, which is like just someone at a computer doing something, AI is going to take over those jobs like lightning.
Coding, anything along those lines. Yeah.
Do you remember a couple of years back when the Biden administration, people were losing their jobs, coal mines, et cetera, and they said, learn to code. They said, go learn to code. Well, guess what? Your AI can do that. Matter of fact, I've coded things on my website, not having a clue like what I was doing, but just showing like a picture or an example. This is what I want to code. I put it into Chat GPT and it spits it out in seconds. And it's nearly perfect. It's incredible. And these are the type of jobs that it sounds like, number one, are on the chopping block first, but it's really scary, some of the things that they dive into this podcast, Trent.
Yeah, Justin. It's great that you're using AI to code, but you still need an expert to review that a little bit because, yes, AI can still get it messed up. But very interesting topic, Justin. And we've been living through this since COVID. People don't realize when COVID hit and we had all this, remote work from home kind of thing. People weren't in the office. Everybody attributed that at the time to because of COVID. And yes, partially it was. They wanted people out of the office. But what kept people out of the office was the technology that enabled people to work remotely. The technology, once people were working remotely from home, they could see and envision in real life how they could work across the country. So they didn't need to have an office. And then once they realized, hey, we can work across the country with technology, meant much of that with AI, allowing and helping that to do that. Now we can outsource this to another country. Now we can send this data to a machine that can do this instead of a person. So you can remember AI job replacement, the lightning losing your jobs. It's not just a robot or a computer directly doing your 9-to-5 job. It's a much bigger picture of a change in technology, reducing the jobs, changing where these jobs are. And eventually it does. It leads to more machines doing it, computers doing those jobs. And this is not going to happen like, 3 years from now, some new software is released or some new robots released, and all of a sudden 80% of the jobs are gone. This is going to be a drip thing that happens all over the place. It is happening live as we speak. This is not some future theory. It is happening everywhere live. It's going to keep happening, and it's going to ramp up. And if we think we're fine in our own job, or we think, we'll deal with it down the road when that wall hits, sorry, this is old news. This has been happening for years. You're going to get swooped up into this new AI change as one of the people that didn't see it, didn't think about it, and lost their job and has no idea what they're doing next.
So the question is, what do you do? Because I'll give you some of the quotes. I can't play all of this because the language, obviously, on Joe's podcast with some of the stuff can get kind of interesting. But at one point, they talk about the ultimate irony, that capitalism will achieve what communism never could. They say AI and robotics enable a universal high income, not just basic, that everyone would be able to share in what they call abundance. Work becomes optional. This is what they say: the communist utopia will be achieved via capitalism. Fate is an irony maximizer, they said. But here's the other piece that's really tough on all of this, because there's some more thinking that goes into it. If nobody has to work, what will your purpose be? What will you do? And I think purpose is deeper than work. But a lot of what we do in our work, we're designed to do that. We're created to work. So we find a lot of that dignity and whatnot in our work and doing. And by the way, that's another one of these reasons. Like when you subsidize everything and you take, the equation out of people to be able to go out and make a living, et cetera. I mean, it does things to people that I think are soul crushing at times. So anyway, there's some deep conversations and thoughts about this. In fact, one of the things they mentioned is that this is really scary, not just for me on a personal level, but I think it should be for everyone. Your entire media diet. Elon, I want you to hear this. Your entire media diet is going to be gone the way of AI, totally, in the next 5 to 6 years, maybe sooner. In other words, it will completely be AI generated. Music, videos, news, everything personalized and created in real time. And that means just for you. He says human made content becomes a niche hobby. Now, that should be scary, not just for me, because it's like, hey, this is what I do, but also if you can create whatever you want, whenever you want, and that content just all it does is give you what you want to hear, etc. And it never tests you, never challenges you, never pushes back. Then we've created these ultimate ecosystems and chambers that I don't think are going to be helpful at all. I think it's going to be really terrifying.
Justin, what he's talking about there is the media content, and media content is not just us checking the news, right? It's if you look at the amount of time people spend on their phones today, and you look at media related things between emails, email advertising, even phone calls, scam calls, never mind the hours people spend on social media posts. When the AI is dripping that in, it essentially controls your life. It controls your thought process, what you're seeing, what you're thinking. And it can feed things into you to manipulate your brain into thinking a certain way. Justin, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, probably 90% of our life, 99% of our life had zero media influence. I mean, we read the newspaper once a day for, maybe a half hour or something. And the rest of our day, our influence on our lives was real physical, tangible things, people, nature around us. So this is uncharted territory. It is crazy. It is scary, and it's not healthy for us. So we need to shut it off, go outside, and be normal people, not robots.
Amen to that. Yes, it is time to shut it all off, go outside and be normal people half the time. But at the same time, just know this stuff is coming. So you've got to be prepared. And I think, obviously, that's one of the things we're doing today. All right. I got some good news, but I don't have a lot of time. So I'm sorry. We got things that we wanted to break down. I got UFOs. I got a mining company on the moon. I got breakthrough blood tests that could spot multiple cancers before symptoms appear. So I don't know. We'll try and cover some of that. I'll make sure it all gets up on the stack today so you can read it, but we may have to come back next week and dive in a little bit deeper. Always a pleasure. I wanted to make sure we cover this AI thing because I just don't think we could literally, you could have a 5-hour show and still not be able to cover it all. It's that big, it's that serious, and people need to understand what's on the way. Thank you, my friend Trent. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Justin. Have a great day.
Trent Kanibi, Affordable Eye Store, Lake Michigan Drive in Standale and Grand River Tech. Always willing to help you no matter what your issue is. And it sounds like some of us have more than others. Let me be honest. I'm one of them. Personal devices, Affordable Eye Store, your business. Maybe you've got an organization that you need some help with. Make sure that you can stay connected. And that security is such a big deal as well. Grand River Tech, reach out. Either way, he'd be happy to help you. Our good friend, Trent Kanibi. Back with more after this, folks, on West Michigan Live. Got some red on the screen today. Stocks fall as Palantir, another one of those big tech companies, declines, raising fears about AI valuations. More AI. Yeah, guardingyournestegg.com will make sure that you're ready to retire, whether it's today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road. They take a holistic approach, and that's the important thing. Everybody's different, and your customized solution, well, that's how they work things out in three. Mike Lester and the team willing to work with you at guardingyournestegg.com. Reach out today or call 616 661-1000. That's 616-661-1000. But do it today. Take advantage before it's too late.
Informative, engaging. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Tuesday, November 4th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Here in Michigan, voters heading to the polls. Lots of local races, including electing a new mayor of Detroit. Mike Duggan is running for governor in 2026. Wallet Hub out with a brand new survey, and it finds Detroit ranked the second worst city in the U.S. for our military veterans. Sky-high veteran unemployment and poverty are significant factors. Newark, New Jersey ranked last on the list. It is day 35 of the Schumer shutdown. House Speaker Mike Johnson calling on Democrats again to vote to reopen the government.
SNAP benefits for millions of American families are drying up. It's about 1 in 8 people in this country who rely upon this to literally put food on their table. And the blame for this lies 100% with the senators sitting over there on the Democrat Party.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
I've always wanted
All right, the fastest hour in radio is flying by, folks. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to jump in the conversation. Man, oh man, if you haven't done it yet, please click share over on Facebook, X, YouTube. Yeah, Rumble's good too. You can hit that repost button. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that thumbs up. Show us that you like what's going on. Reactions, comments, all those things help the system know that you're digging what we're doing. And of course, your support means that more people can actually hear what we're talking about and the importance of it all. Big after show is on the way, and we have a conversation for the folks in the VIP today on the Freedom Famine Locals that eventually you'll get to hear. But they'll get to hear it first. We're digging into the issue in Nigeria, Trump coming out speaking against it the other day as well. But Across Nigeria is a great organization. Brad Brandon, the pastor that oversees it, will be talking about what's really going on the ground right now with Christians and what they're doing to help, in fact, support those folks. And it's a massive story. And again, as you said, the one we just saw the president speaking out on. Oh man, you can't make some of this stuff up. All right, back on the air. Here we go. Just got some breaking news I think you'll find interesting. Here we go.
See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
Just got word. This is something. You know, Zoran the Moron, Comrade Mamdani, is on the ballot in New York. They just posted this. I know it shows this. Polymarket betting's got it 92% chance that he wins. Well, I don't know if it helps that he's on the ballot twice in New York. It just, you can't make some of this stuff up. We're keeping an eye on that election and some of the others across the state as well today. The fastest hour on radio just flies by each and every day we get into. We're so glad that you're here with us for it. Glenn's got more on these stories and more. Again, the bomb threats in New Jersey at polling places this morning. Another big story will continue to follow throughout the day, too. On election day, get out and vote. No, yeah, there might be a millage. There might be some sort of property tax that you just don't even know about. Make sure you check. Because I'm going to tell you, you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to make your voice heard on these situations and these subjects that have a very real and very immediate effect on you personally. Sometimes what's happening in your backyard, often, really, more important what's happening in D.C. or Lansing. I'll tell you that much. Glenn back all the way, and in the meantime, make it a great one. We're back, the fastest hour in radio, flying by. Back tomorrow. God bless.
Grand Rapids, WOOD-FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
All right. Sorry, folks, I had to move something. All right. So what they're saying, why he's on the ballot twice. I don't know if you can see this. I'm on the community notes. Somebody has noted, and I don't know if this is real, and I have to do a little research into it, but he says that's because he's nominated by both the Democrat and Working Families parties, just like Sliwa, who's nominated by the Republican, the Protect Animal parties. But I don't see Sliwa on here twice. Imagine that this is... Oh, I do. He's on here twice, too. Yeah. But I don't know, like, if Mamdani got, 1 million votes on Democrat and 1 million votes on the Protect Animals, do they count together? Or do you only get one of these slots to win? What a just an insane... The whole thing's insane. Bonnie, we're praying for you today. Holy cow. Praying for you in New York. Anybody else in New York City? Jim, I don't know. This is a good question. Does he get 2 votes or does he get just a... That's a whole nother very, very good question, actually. All right. Let's record our after show. Then we got to get rolling with our special conversation, Pastor Brandon and the Across Nigeria folks. Coming up at 10:30 for the folks. What's that language on the ballot? Teresa, I would assume it's Chinese, but I don't know. Kind of looked like. I don't know. Some sort of Asian. Here we go. Hang on. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Well, welcome in, folks. Yep. Never a dull moment, never enough time for it all. We do our best to make sure that you get it. You get it all. The stories that you won't hear anywhere else. That's what we're doing today. All right. We got the big elections. We got New York City. We got the bomb threats in New Jersey. We got some of the reaction from all of that. But I've got other things I got to do too as well. Dick Cheney, dead today, 84. We talked about that earlier. The shutdown, now tied for the longest on record. When will it end? Maybe tomorrow. They're talking about this off-ramp right now, which is kind of interesting. Again, it's politics as usual. And I didn't even mention this at all, but this is probably the biggest news, certainly the best news of the day. There's a big story that I didn't even get to, but we also have, remember those monkeys that escaped in Mississippi? They were out of the truck. We have an update. One of them dead. We'll tell you why, which I think is it's kind of another wild one. First, thanks to our sponsors, Maha Missy, and the folks with My Pure Health Solutions, healthwithjustin.com. I'm down. I think it's 15, 16 pounds. Now I have to do the full. So then there's different numbers. There's what I know because I stepped on the scale today, so I know what I get. But then there's what we have announced, and usually week by week we're announcing a little bit more and more. I'll tell you the one thing that I forget the scale. That's great, but I love the energy. I feel amazing, and then my clothes are fitting better, so I can see it, notice it in different ways. But that's probably the thing that I'm most thrilled about. Healthwithjustin.com. Reach out today. I know if we're going to get, especially on the Maha movement, if we are going to make sure that, you and I, by the way, because that's making America healthy again, starts with you and I. It starts with you and me. It starts with each of us doing our best to make sure that we're taking care of each other and ourselves. But that's what it's all about. The Maha movement continues full speed ahead. So if you want to join me, this is probably the best time to get started because you could probably do around right before Christmas, before the holidays really ramp up, and then you'll be ready. Come the first of the year, while everybody else is making resolutions, you'll be making. You probably have to make yourself go to the store and buy smaller pants. It's fantastic. You have all that momentum going through into the coming year. That will be fantastic. I know you're going to love it. So anyway, healthwithjustin.com, great way to get started. And join me today if you'd like to in the challenge. Healthwithjustin.com. Love to see you in it. And feeling greater. Better than ever before. That's the fantastic piece of this. All right, how about the big breaking news? And I shame on me. I should have gotten to it earlier. But the big breaking news that's out there, it's a good one. Finally calling it quits. I don't know if you saw this or not. She finally calling it quits. Nancy Pelosi is stepping down. Sources close to Pelosi expect her to retire after Election Day. Nancy Pelosi gonna retire, gonna step down. Finally calling it. This is big news. What happens with all that stock money? You tell me. What is she, like 90 something almost? I mean, it kind of is incredible. If you think about this too, like these people, I mean, wouldn't you at some point want to enjoy your life right off into the sunset? What is it with their need to just have all of this power? And I don't know. I mean, I can't even fathom that. I mean, I also can't, I can't fathom not working in some way, but not at the same pace. I think at some point, I want to do things a little differently. Slow down maybe just a little bit. Right now in California, and this is probably why they're saying after Election Day, they're pushing this redistricting out in California. It's called Prop 50, and it would essentially, they say, take the voice away from millions conservatives in that state that would no longer be represented. So she's been campaigning, it sounds like, heavily for that. Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. That's what Ian Krager, spokesperson for Pelosi, declining to confirm to ABC News whether she'll seek re-election or retire at the end of her term. She might be being forced out, too. Yeah, maybe somebody's saying, look, we're going to get this done now because you're too old and it's time to wrap this up. Speaker Pelosi is fully focused on her mission to win, yes, on 50 election in California. That's what I was just talking about. That's that redistricting. Any discussion on her future plans beyond that mission is pure speculation. So they're not ready for the announcement if it's real. I think it probably is. Filing deadline for California is March 6th, 2026. Another Democrat state rep, Scott Wiener, already announced his intent to run in Pelosi's district, though the official filing period does not open until February 9th. One source downplayed the recent buzz about a retirement, emphasizing that Pelosi is 85. Ooh, there you go. Has a plan that she'll share once she's ready. 85. This is what I mean. Like, why? At 85, why do you need to be out there? especially in D.C. Well, she probably got a pretty cushy setup there, you know? All that money from the insider trading and whatnot. She takes a private jet back and forth. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch, but that's a good one, Charlie. Nancy in handcuffs 2026. Well, that's a whole nother thing too, because there might be some heat from the January 6th, the story that's out there floating in her responsibility, her role. That's a whole other question. People wondered about it. Maybe that's why they say maybe you ought to take a step back. Maybe it's time to retire. Maybe that's what's part of the plan. I don't know. Term limits and age retirement limits. Well, I'll tell you, some of that I agree with. On the other hand, you look at somebody like Trump, he's a different level of that age. What is he? How old is Trump? Is he 80 yet? 79. He'll be 80 next year. But that guy doesn't act like he's 80, does he? I mean, he doesn't. And is Biden the same age or maybe just a little bit older? You can see a very different sort of presentation there on all of it. All right. Let's see. They're talking again. Here's the speaker talking about the latest.
The Democrats for decades. That has been true. They represent tens of thousands of working Americans, all these associations together. And now they're calling on the Democrats to drop their partisan demands and reopen the government. Stop inflicting this pain on the American people because you are afraid of your far left base. And how do the Democrats respond to all this? They're gaslighting the American people and even their own base. The truth is the Democrats have lost touch with working Americans because they've simply stopped listening and stopped serving them. And every few months, after leaning harder into their woke identity politics, they commission an expensive study to try to figure out why working class voters have completely abandoned them in the Democrat Party. Here's a recent finding. This is a left-leaning research group that surveyed 3,000 working class Americans. This was published in Politico November 2nd. Quote, this is the finding. Working class voters perceive Democrats to be woke, weak, and out of touch, too focused on social issues, and not nearly focused enough on the economic issues that impact everyone every day, unquote. And here's the kicker. They also said working class voters, quote, can't name what Democrats stand for other than being against Donald Trump. Well, good luck with that as a message to the people. Of course, you don't need a months-long study to tell you the Democrats are woke and weak. You simply need to look around. As the Democrats continue to pander to their radical base of affluent progressives, President Trump and Republicans are building a new multi-generational coalition of voters that is grounded in common sense. Since November 2024.
Who is this, Emmer back here? He's got a scowl on him, doesn't he? McClain, she looks good as always, but Emmer's got that scowl going.
Have welcomed record numbers of Hispanic and Latino voters.
Does not look happy. I don't know that we're going to get any updates on this. We think we've watched enough. If there's anything that comes, we'll dump it on you. But what we're hearing is that they're going to try and open. There's some talk between a couple of folks in the Senate. There's a bipartisan group in the Senate that's working together, and they're trying to open things up. We heard all along Democrats are waiting until after the election, waiting for this, waiting for that. But the election, that's probably the biggest piece of it. I don't know about you, but, they never do things without some sort of calculation or strategy. The thing that they tell you, a reason why they tell you they're doing something is never the reason for it. We thought, okay, first they got to clear the No King's Day. That was sort of the first idea. Okay, let's get that out of the way. We got to get these people out and marching and whatnot. But this election day is probably it. Once they get the results they're looking for, they'll all get back to work. They know, because this thing's really become kind of an issue. It's become kind of a big problem for them for a while. So Pelosi may be retiring. What is this? I got more from Pelosi. Who cares what she thinks? But here she is on CNN. Been reduced now to muttering on CNN about how Trump is just a vile creature, she says.
Just a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth. But anyway.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do, yeah. I do.
Why is that?
No wonder.
Because he's the president of the United States and he does not honor the Constitution of the United States.
No wonder they're going to have a retention. It didn't make sense.
United States. In fact, he's turned the Supreme Court into a rogue court. He's abolished the House of Representatives. He's chilled the press. He's scared people who...
Does the press look chilled to you? Does this CNN guy, does he look chilled? Do any of those morons on MSDNC 13, do they look chilled to you?
Are in our country legally.
By the way, her same people, Biden and that administration, the ones that literally went out and said that you and I couldn't talk about the issues we saw in elections. We couldn't ask questions about the flu or anything else. People were canceled, right? I mean, it's insane. We're just steps away from becoming the UK, where you could get arrested for praying somewhere. I mean, it's just nutty. But all of this, she says, as she mentioned, all of it's Trump's fault. That's why he's a vile creature. Nancy Pelosi, she can't go away soon enough. Speaking of someone who can't go away soon enough, she's trying to hang on. There's a reason why Gretchen Whitmer is out there doing all these podcast interviews right now. There's a guy, and I don't know if you've ever seen him, named Caleb Hammer. He's from Michigan originally. I didn't know this, but the interesting thing that he's known for is he does this content where he sits down with people and like really goes through their finances to find out like why they're broke, and does like budgeting stuff with them and like, why are you spending all this money on this and why are you doing that? And occasionally he'll have high profile people that'll come in and do little guest, kind of cute guest things. And it really is interesting. I like him. I don't know where his politics are. I can kind of get a sense for some of that. He's conservative, especially when it comes to the budget, of how people should. So he's got a head on his shoulders when it comes to that. Some of what they talked about budget was the state of Michigan's budget, which I thought was kind of interesting. But he called her out when it came to COVID. This is one of the things I like the most. Listen to what he said.
See, it's only going up. COVID took a little bit. Okay, COVID fair enough. It was hard. Yeah, it was a little. I'll be honest. I was a little annoyed when I came home for Christmas 2 years in a row. Yeah. Like we had to eat outside, but we were inside pods outside. It was a little weird. Then I came back here and then I could just do whatever. Well, that was a bit weird. I'll be honest. But
I guess he's in Florida. Maybe is that what he's making the case? Is like then I came back here where things were reasonable.
Remember what the temperature was here. You can walk around outside all day, right? At home, but if I could in Michigan in the winter, we're all inside breathing on each other.
But you still can't make sense of this now. And she does not like talking about it. You're going to see her flip at the end of this. And there's a reason for it.
I was allowed to be inside, outside. Why couldn't I just be inside?
Hey, this is exactly what we said the entire time. You remember this question is so true. She's never had to answer this question, folks. And never thought she would get it from this guy. Never had to answer this question and never thought she'd get it from this guy. And here she is face to face with it. Look at what she says. Oh, she's just filled with rage that he would dare even ask me.
Because you were inside, outside with just your small group of people.
And the servers.
Listen, Caleb, none of us wants to go back and relive that.
That's
we were
true,
doing the best we
please.
could with very little or very bad information.
Oh, so then why'd you shut everything down the very best you could? Nobody wants to go back. Nobody wants to go back there. I will tell you who certainly doesn't want to go back there. It is the Wolverine Queen, because she's got nothing. Not a zip, zilch, zero. Not a leg to stand on. And even now, 5 years later, she's got no answers for any of this other than, well, it's somebody else's fault. We were dealing with bad data. We were dealing the science and the data. Remember, I've got these knobs and I can turn them, the science and the data. We're going to follow the science and the data. Turns out it was a load, and she's now sort of telling you that. It's just interesting to me because she had the same science as DeSantis. And yet they got it so completely opposite in their reaction and results. There's another one who still hasn't seen full accountability, and she ought to. She really ought to. Now she's out there apparently trying to gear up enough press to maybe getting the naming out there for the running for president, name recognition in this. Buttigieg is up there. She's up there. Newsom is in the discussion and the conversation as well. You ought to go look some of these clips up because some of them are pretty funny. Maybe I'll find you. I don't know. Maybe I'll find you a couple links and throw them up there in the stack for you. One Democrat who probably should run for president. This guy, he hasn't lost it. He knows. They think he's lost it. I actually think he found it. He's the only one making any sense out of all of them.
Because I'm going to have a conversation with the other side, and that's where I'm at. And I'm going to show up and talk to anyone that invites me to be here because we really need each other. And I want to have. And one other thing I refuse to do as a Democrat, I'm not going to call you a fascist or a Nazi. I'm not going to compare anyone to Hitler or anything. That's wrong. And if you resort to that thing, you've lost the plot. It's because if you call him a fascist, then you have to think, well, maybe the people that vote for him, and I know people that love for him, is a fascist. That's just not true. And I know people that voted for the other side, and they're not trying to destroy our Constitution.
Well, the guy up there in Maine, he's got a Nazi tattoo.
No, that's going to be up to the Democrats in Maine. You know, for me, I'm proud to represent Pennsylvania, and I think that's the state in this country that truly reflects our nation, and now that keeps you accountable and that keeps you honest, and that's why why anybody would want to be in a bubble online or living in a bubble.
He's got an iPad in front of him or something. I wonder if that's to help him. I'm not making fun of the guy, but I just wonder if that's to help him understand some of the conversation that he's having, because he did have a stroke. I'm just saying. I just the whole thing. How does that guy make the most sense out of all of them? He broke free. He broke free from the captors indeed. Hey, there is a hearing, by the way, on tariffs today. Trump won't be there at the Supreme Court, but Scott Bessent will be. That issue is going in front of the Supreme Court. If you haven't been paying attention to that, this is This is whether or not Trump has the power to do what he's been doing with the tariffs.
This week, the U.S. Supreme Court will consider whether the president is within his authority to impose tariffs using the International Emergency Economic Power Act. That law allows presidents to set tariffs in a national emergency without congressional approval. President Trump used that authority to impose tariffs as high as 50% on India and Brazil and 145% on China earlier this year. American businesses have paid nearly $90 billion to cover those.
And you know how much they say? Like, if we do tariffs right, we may not ever need income tax ever again. Isn't that interesting? Now, I don't know. That's just some of the stats we've heard, some of the things we've heard talked about on tariffs. I will say that I think Trump, whether he's all in on the tariffs or not, one of the things that I think is fascinating is more than anything, just the fact that he's said, we're going to take this seriously. I think there's something to all of this. And he's used them as a tool to attack some of these other countries when it comes to their trade deals. And it's working. It seems to be working. I'm not like a huge fan of tariffs personally, but it does seem to be working. Did you see this story? This is the story we had to save for you. A mom has killed one of the last surviving Mississippi monkeys. The monkey that got away, when they had that crash, the truck crash. They were taking these monkeys, I guess, to some lab or something. When the university was trying to I don't know. It's like a plot out of a movie anyway. But they were taking these monkeys to some lab, and finally now, the last surviving monkey has been shot, but how it happened is just incredible.
Another monkey that escaped after a crash in Mississippi has been killed. A homeowner told reporters she saw it on her property. She said she was worried it could be carrying diseases, so she grabbed her gun and shot it. The escape happened when a truck carrying 21 of the monkeys crashed last week. That truck came from a 2-lane research facility in our area, though the school says it did not own the monkeys.
Yeah, well, who did? That's probably a good question. Where do these monkeys come from? The fact that a mom had to shoot the monkeys or the last surviving monkey, and thankfully she did, because I agree with you. You don't want to mess around when it comes to diseases and all of that with these. But I just want more from them. Where's the mom? Jessica Bond Ferguson. This is how they describe it. People magazine has one of the monkeys that escaped after a crash in Mississippi. I was shot dead by a mom of 5 who said that she was worried for her children's safety. In the early morning hours of Sunday, November 2nd, Jessica Bond Ferguson's 16-year-old son told her he thought he'd seen a monkey in the yard near their home in Heidelberg, Mississippi. She tells the Associated Press. After Bond got out of bed, she grabbed her gun, saw the animal about 60 feet away. She killed it. She'd heard all the escaped monkeys carry diseases, according to the outlet. I did what any mother would do to protect her children, she said. Where is the audio of this? This is what I want. I want to hear the mom out there. Where is she? She's the hero in the story. Instead, we get a story about this monkey that's, I just don't think it's as important. What did the monkey used to do? What was it? What was its favorite hobbies? How many children did the monkey have? No, I want to know about the woman who killed the monkey. That's incredible. What a story. And good for her. Sometimes you can't really with these people. Oh, wait a minute. Is this her? Oh, this is her. We found it. Hang on. Yes, fantastic. Listen to the story the mom tells it.
So first, can you spell your first and last name, please? Jessica Bond, Jessica Bond.
And by the way, folks, again, this is gonna be raw audio. So I want to just see a little bit of this.
Nice to meet you, Jessica. Nice to meet you. I guess we'll start simple. What happened to you yesterday? Well, I was sleeping for the most part, and my son heard the dogs barking because I had told him the night before, Saturday night, that I was hearing noises in the bushes. And I told him that it was strange noises. And I said, y'all just don't go outside. I said, if you do, let me know. So I guess he was alert and he was aware about the noises. So when
They'll arrest her for killing it. Not in Mississippi. No, that's not how.
he heard the dogs barking, he looked out the window and he called me and said, "Mom, the dogs outside barking at something." So I said, "Well, see what it is." You know, I was still in bed and I was getting out the bed trying to get my clothes. So he said, "Mom, it looked like a monkey." So I said,
yes.
I said, "Well, to go," I said, "record it." I said, "Make sure because, you know, so we could have proof of it, that it was in our yard." Because I didn't know if it was just running past or, you know, leaving or whatever. So he said, "I can't get a clear shot." He said, "But Mom, it's the monkey." So I said, "Oh, snap. Let me get my phone and let me get my gun. Let me call the police and stuff." So when I come out, I got in my truck and I backed up down this road and I stopped about right there.
Wow.
And he was on top of that bin right there, and he left from that bin and went and jumped on the railing of that porch. And I sat in my truck, and when I got out, I said, okay, you know, do I sit here and wait for it to run away, run to somebody else's yard? You know, I have a 3-year-old, and, you know, what if it come back out, you know, hide in the woods and come back out and try to attack her later on?
Right.
And, you know, she can't defend herself from a wild monkey, and all it takes is a little scratch for her to, you know, develop something. And we don't know what these monkeys have, because one minute they have this, and then the next minute Tulane is saying they don't have anything to avoid lawsuits and stuff. So, you know, I'm not going to take my chances.
That's a smart mom right there, by the way. What a good mom. Is she on trial? Yes. No, but you know, the way the world works, sometimes you just never know. I think they ought to give her a medal. I mean, that's fantastic. I know it's just a monkey, but at the same time, you know, this is a good mom doing her best to protect her kids, and thank goodness she did. Responsible firearm owner as well. Glad to hear it. Jessica Bond Ferguson. Protecting her 5 kids, and that little one, probably the 3-year-old that she was talking about. All right, folks, that's it. Back with you tomorrow. We'll have more, and of course, the news never stops, so don't miss it. If you miss anything we talked about today, all alive and archived, you can catch us on the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast, or where you watch this show today. You go back and watch the rest of it. Also, if you miss the stories like that one, I'll make sure that I post it, and you can get it in the stack today at justinbarclay.com. All right, that's it. Got a special treat for the folks in the VIP Freedom Family. If you haven't already joined, we've extended it for the next week, just $7 a month. Otherwise, the price goes up later at the end of the month. We had a couple of people take advantage of it yesterday, so get in and join us. You'll be able to ask questions even of Pastor Brad Bandit. We're going across Nigeria to get the truth about what's happening there with Christians.